Hey YouTube, this is going to be a pre-recorded, so whoever watches this might not understand what I'm doing. So I started to stream live. I was doing a TikTok live stream, and now I'm waiting for the client to reach the chat, the live stream here on YouTube. That's what I'm doing. So I'm waiting, and that's why I'm sitting here silently in case someone watches this later on in my video archive. And they're like, why is she sitting there? That's why. Hey, there you are. Hi. It's just, it's a lot more comfortable in here. I prefer it. I usually do my streams on here. I do free stuff on TikTok and then I come over, but it's just a lot more relaxing. Oh, you can begin right away. Go ahead, sweetheart. Not a problem. Yes, I got an alert about 2 months ago, say a violation saying that they took off the violation, but I got it because I said the word Instagram. It said, you are manipulating people off of the platform. Really? Okay. Okay, so when you say, what does spirit say? I appreciate you saying that, but let me explain. You just ask me, because psychic clairvoyance, to understand the phenomenon of what happens with us, it's 50% of me, my soul, my abilities, who I am in this incarnation of my life. 50% of me, and then the other 50% is my spirit team, my ancestors, you know, and my team, you know. And that togetherness is what forms the clarity. So that's why, you know, you cannot separate my soul from the reading that I give, because it's through me, right? So it's the connection. So I just say I ask spirit, because it's like a thing for people to understand. Like I'll say like, oh, it's spirit led, because a lot of people just buy a pack of cards and they just read the meaning. And then they're like, people want to know if they're paying money for a reading. Are you just reading what the tarot book says? Or are you like, is this your own bullshit you're convoluting and making up? Or is this like spiritual? And people get confused. So now the trendy thing to say, oh, it's spirit led. It's supposed to be if you have abilities. So when you address a question, just ask me, you know, don't do that of the ask of the spirit. I don't do that. So just ask me, you know, like, you want to know about Justin. No worries, no worries. Okay, not a problem, not a problem. So let's focus. So you and Justin, very important. Okay. I'm going to shut the music off. Usually I have a little bit of music playing on, but I'm going to turn it off for the reading, because this space doesn't like any music. Okay, so here we go. What is the connection of you and Justin? So I see that okay, so I'm going to explain this in two different ways. When I gaze and I tell people what I see, a lot of times people get confused as hell. I'm going to explain it, but then I want you to understand what I say afterwards. Don't worry so much about my description of the vision, okay? But I'm going to share it anyway. I see you and him, or I should say it like this. I see two people. Obviously, it's you and him, but I see two people sitting at a table with a close distance between each other. And it doesn't really seem like a restaurant, but I'm not really seeing the background anyway. It just seems like a place, like a residence or something to me. And it seems, or maybe, I don't know, it could be a public space, but I'm not seeing the surroundings of it. And it looks like your body language is more like leaning a little bit forward, and you have really like intense eye contact. Whereas he has eye contact with you, but sometimes looks away, like doesn't look at you as long as you look at him, or like with the intensity. And I'm seeing that there is interest. There's definitely a connection. Excuse me. That there's definitely a connection. But I'm seeing that, number one, he's a little bit more shy and nervous. There's a little bit of a nervous side to him. And I'm seeing that he's not as forthcoming or aggressive. Thank you. That like really letting you know, hey, I want you. Hey, I like you. It's more like it's subtle. That's what I'm seeing. So this could have been at the beginning, or this could have been what it is now. And that's the energy. So I'm going to ask a second time, okay? The energy answer is the same. I see that you are more invested in showing him like your like your desire vibe, your attractive vibe, and he you know, he's okay at responding, but he's just not giving you that wow, like, hey baby, like, you know, I'm here, like, hey, you know, I like you, and like aggressive and sticky and da 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 da, high energy and all of that. I just see that it's like you have all this like fire pumped up, like you're ready, and you see that it doesn't match you exactly. Like he's not doing anything to like make you not, but I don't see it even. So that's how I would describe the connection, the you know, the energy of the new connection. Oh, okay. 1 second. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay, what's your next question? Okay. All right, so I see a pattern of like when a time sequence goes by and a person sits in like a bench or something where it doesn't have like a background. It's kind of weird. Again, remember I said to you, I'm just going to say a vision, but pay attention to how I interpret the vision, not so much the vision itself. Don't worry about that too much. So I see like this vision of this like bench or something that like the back, there's no back. It's kind of weird because like places that you eat at usually have like a back sitting or like something that supports the back. And then but it lets me know that it's a place of lounge or a place of like eating something or something. And it shows me that first there's a bunch of people and then they little by little by little vanish, meaning they quit or they move on. And then other people come in and then they leave. And then it shows me that you're there. And then it like shows me like an isolation of it. Um, almost like you've been there through changes. You've seen a lot of change, like maybe it has like a revolving door. um that there's a high turnaround rate or something, because I see that you're the stable one, or you've been there doing the same routine, and I see that you're not really seen, like you're not really um you know like you're not really, not only the glass ceiling, but like this, there's no, you're not appreciated in a way, like there's just not more that you can do, because they don't give you the opportunity. It's not because you can't. Okay, I've been really pondering, leaving, but I grew myself at this company sometimes. Okay, so I don't know if I answered your question so far. Okay, am I at the right company? I'm gonna ask one more time, because already I'm seeing that you outgrew it, but let me do it one more time. Okay. The person where you are, okay, when it comes to the company that you're in right now, I see the staff kind of changing a little bit, like maybe a couple people leaving again and then a couple coming in, like new hires or something like that. new faces, not many, just like 2 or 3. And then I see that there's this woman that's very like a hard ass, rude, reminds me of the vibe of Queen Victoria. Or in The Devil Wears Prada, like really, you know, like Miranda, just like really hard, you know. And I just I don't see that you are, I mean, this person can also be like at some point, you know, behind the scenes. So maybe sometimes they do payroll, you know, maybe sometimes higher ups, you don't really see everybody. But anyway, so there's this one kind of like director, kind of managerial head person. And I see that there's continued harmony, but the way that you're seen at this company, this is in the near future, this is in 2026, the way that you are seen is a little bit cynical, like a little bit reserved, a little bit, give me 1 second. So can you adjust, can you hear me, Panda? Okay. Okay, there we go. So, okay, can you, so Jada, I'm not, you know, right now it's just about your reading, okay? So anyway, so what I was saying is I see that in the beginning parts of 2026, you are going to be, you know, dealing with people that behind your back don't really respect you, so they deal with you there. But there's 1 or 2 people that just don't like you. Not personal, not like there's any kind of stress or beef or anything like that, any issue. But I just see that it's just not this warm, genuine place. And I feel that when if you around that time, if you go to look at another place, if you go to look at, you know, for a new work, I see you in a place where there's something digital, there's something more. I mean, everybody uses computers in workplaces most of the time, but there's something where I see you at a desk with quiet, and you're definitely using your skills in a different way, and you are shaking someone's hand, so you actually have some kind of client or somebody that you deal with. And there's more peace of mind, it's more relaxed, and it's more respectful. I see you using your talents better. I also see that it's going to be a little bit longer before that a bigger opportunity comes your way. So are you in the right career path where you're at? No. I see that you will be leaving, but of course this part is a choice. I see that if you decide to make that choice, I did see you in a new place that you really, really like, the one I explained, where there's actually more one-on-one with people. So you know, the handshaking kind of thing that I saw, you in this more comfortable workspace, and then, you know, it's isolated more with you on a computer or something that you were doing. And then, so I see that, and I see that maybe a year or a year and a half, up to 2 years later, I see that then there's going to be like a very big change, like what you're really waiting on. But you're not there yet. So wasting time at this place, I just don't, I don't feel that it's right for you. But if you do decide to wait a little bit, you yourself will become tired anyway, is what I'm saying. All right. So based on time, we have time for 3 more questions. So if you want to put them down. Who was the lady that I saw? The lady that seems older to me, who seems very like, I don't know, like, you know, the one that I said reminds me of. Okay, no, yeah, yeah. No, I got you. So those are the questions. I got them. Yeah, perfect. I'll go ahead and address those. But there was a lady that I saw um, in the within the next 5 or 6 months, and she seemed in charge. Okay, okay, yeah. So it gets a little bit worse, and that's where you feel uncomfortable. But here's the thing: I see her in a little bit of a higher place, a little bit of a higher position, a little bit where she gets a little bit more of a voice. So I don't know from 6 months from now or so. I don't know what that entails, but I just wanted to let you know that. Okay, so let's go ahead with the questions. Is Travis mad at you? So, um, for now, yes, I see that there's a butting of heads. So there's something that the way that they feel, they wish they could be more confrontational. Um, but I feel that there's going to be a repair. There's going to be like a making up, like nicer words expressed and everything. It's going to get a little bit worse and then it gets better without you having to do anything. It's just naturally going to be better. So the answer is yes. Okay, so let's see. Okay, travel or relocation in your near future. With your job, you mean? In reference to your job or in reference to just like your life? Because that's like you got to clarify. Because sometimes jobs have like, go to this office, go to this office, and okay, let's see. Will you get married in the next year? Okay, work. Okay, let's go back to that. So, is there any travel or relocation in your near future? The changes that I see where you're at are minimal, maybe cosmetic changes to the place, very minimal. And it's really the changes with people coming in and out, so staff kind of thing. And a couple of other things that are going to change as well in the office culture. But when it comes to, like how they do things or like a new thing that they implement, as far as relocation and all that type of change, yes, the one that I explained that was from I'm sorry, I was thinking about something. The one that I explained where I see you going from one location, and then the other option that you have because you grow tired of it. So that is you have to kind of make that choice with you. But if it's going to present itself anyway. All right. So yes, in that aspect, yes. As far as like travel, like they send you on flights or something, no, I don't see any of that. I don't see they're gonna like pay for like some kind of cruise or I don't see any of that. Just the things I explained. The real change is the changing of actual employment place, and that's the one that is an option. And I do see some different like I said, minimal cosmetics. So they could redo maybe like the meeting room or something. There is going to be some kind of change that's minimal. It looks like the space changes, or maybe like the furniture or something. I don't think that's what you mean by change. I think you meant like, going to other places. And it's just exactly how I saw it. Okay, now the next one you said is the marriage, okay? Will you get married in the next year? And this is with Jaden, right? The guy that, right? No, no. You, so it goes like, no, no. So it goes like this. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but since this is my business, it's what I do, what I specialize in, love readings, women, love, life, romance, you know, in all of my psychic work and astrologer work. So generally, to give you an idea, a man falls in love with a woman for the most part. It takes him about 2 to 4 weeks to fall deeply in love. And around that time, if he's really scared, to admit it to himself, right? Some that are very sure, it's about 14 days. Some that are sure, but they're scared, but they're pushing themselves anyway. By the time another 14 days comes around, they're in. They're in. So it takes about 2 weeks to a month. Now, for a man to propose, and this is statistically taken from the experts on engagement, which are jewelry companies, as they report to Forbes and a bunch of other articles and research done on it. Tiffany and Company and De Beers and a lot of companies that sell engagement rings, and that's what they do. They have to analyze this kind of data because it means sales of what time of year and all of that. So a man usually proposes within the first 5 to 6 months. After the 6-month mark, there's a drop in 20% likelihood that he will propose, especially if they're living together already. There could be some small other adjusted circumstances where it happens way faster than 6 months, like maybe like within the first week and maybe after the 6 months, but that's very rare. And like I said, the normal average is within the first 6 months, and the 6th month already pushing it. So healthy is 5 months. 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 month, 5 months. That's healthy. 6 month, also very healthy. But it gets to the end of the 6 months, starting the 7th, it starts to drop. So that being said, you also have to look at relationship statistics, marital statistics too. In which case, you know, bridal magazines, you know, all the bridal wedding planners. I went to college with a couple of wedding planners. It was interesting. So this kind of thing, when it comes to weddings, you got to think that a lot of couples, first you have to have a boyfriend, girlfriend. Okay. So your boyfriend, girlfriend for 3 months. Okay. I see he's too detached. I see that the vibes and the way that it looks to me is very, very detached to me. I mean, it's attached because you're like involved, but it's just not, I don't see it escalating fast enough for it to like happen in that direction. So you have to wait, you know, of course, but I'm saying no on the marriage. And I see things continuing together, but I see the same kind of flow. So at this point, you know, you gotta just have a conversation with yourself, and you have to set boundaries, you know. Now, if you live together, that's one situation that the engagement usually happens faster. When you don't live together, It can happen a little bit slower, but not too much slower. Guys usually stay within that time frame. It's just that when they're already living together, a lot of times it happens a little bit faster, but not. In the old days, it used to happen in reverse. It was faster if you didn't live together, but now it's changed. It's kind of funny. Yeah, so it started to change around the 90s. But it's still around the 6 months. We want to give it like 6 months. So 3 months, not bad. So he's got 3 months. And if he doesn't, then then waiting, I guess. Some women wait a year, and then if nothing happens in a year, it gets to 2 years, But I'm seeing that in 2026, no. I'm seeing that you're still together for a part of it. I'm not seeing the whole year, that you don't see an entire 12 months in one vision. You just kind of see the scope of the energy for as long as you can into 2026. So what I'm seeing into 2026 projects itself that you're together. It's just that I don't see things pep up. So my answer is no to that. Let me say something a minute. His intention is not to marry you. In other words, it's not that he has said to himself, I'm not marrying her. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this is not a person that has that in the forefront of his mind. So for example, when I read for my guy clients, I have thousands of guy clients. I have way more female clients, but out of the 14,000 or so clients I have, a good chunk of them, a small chunk, I would say like maybe 3,000 or so are males. And there's a pattern there too when you talk to them. And when a guy is maybe scared of marriage, but he wants to solidify things with her, he will have it in the back of his mind, but worry about it. Like, oh my God, how do I afford a ring? Or what would it be like? And you start seeing like this crawling in, like, I wonder. And then they'll like envision it, or ask a buddy a question, or they'll ask you a weird question out of the blue, and you could see that it's kind of like setting in their heads. So remember, I consult the spirit world, so I'm not giving you any kind of like statistical, I'm making up information. I'm just giving you a well-rounded, just knowledge and wisdom from what I have. But obviously I am consulting, you know what I mean? So the answer is no. But I'm just trying to let you know there's other information to put in there that, you could be observant yourself. And that is, I just see that it doesn't enter the mind. When I look at what's going on with that topic with him, I just see him isolated from those thoughts. So being comfortable, that's what I see. I see him immersing himself in reading. I see him immersing himself in something that you stare at, and something that's just quiet. I don't see that he is window shopping to see what rings are, how much they would cost. I don't see him on his phone getting ideas, maybe print screening something that gave him an idea, or looking. Guys start looking for a little bit. They kind of do a little bit of homework. I don't see that in him. I'm not saying this to upset you. I'm just saying that I think it's healthy to be aware that your real life has to match, the spiritual, and if I'm here saying things that align with what his behavior is, you gotta take that into consideration, and your own intuition and what you see. I don't want to sound negative because I do see that there's feelings, and I do see that there's stability, and I do see that, you know, he continues this same kind of vibe and connection with you, but it doesn't progress. So just because he's sweet, just because he's you know, kind and loving, and just because he's seems interested, and just because, you know, you guys have establishing a bond and it's growing, it also doesn't fit what you're looking for. So at some point you can't give away your youth and your future on something that's just not panning out. I'm not saying give up. I'm saying be intelligent and aware to be able to have a comfortable boundary and say, okay, you know what, this is the timeline for me, then I'm out, that kind of thing. You said think he does have issues. Okay, so there's some fear stuff there. Now, you know, I don't want to upset you or anything like that. You know, like I said, you know, I'm not seeing anything negative from him. But maybe being his girlfriend for a while, maybe it's not bad. I mean, if you really, really care about him, you know, maybe the whole marital thing, you know, you could brush it aside. I don't know. I don't know how you feel. Some women, they don't care. It's rare, but I have seen women that, you know, they're just like into the bond and they don't mind because he's afraid and stuff. And then other women just kind of say, no, that's not what they want. But it depends if you want to prioritize your goals and what you want, or if you want to prioritize just bending those kinds of goals and being there for him because he's afraid. I don't know. That's something your heart has to answer. But as far as spiritually, no, there's no will to propose. Another thing too that I saw is that there's a weird concern with finances. There's a fear. I don't know where it came from for him. I don't try to do the psychology thing. I'm not interested. But my mother's a child psychologist and stuff. But I respect the science, but I stay in the psychic realm. That's my thing. And for me, even though my mother's a diviner, well, professionally for many years I grew up and that's all I saw her do. But you know, I'm just saying that for me, I'm comfortable in the psychic space. Okay, so you have one of those open mind, kind of relaxed, like you want it eventually. You don't want to wait forever, but you have patience. Okay, well, that's healthy. That's good. That's good. That's good because you're not, you know, right now, but you have time to wait. The problem is that I don't see him wanting that. That's the problem. So here's the thing. Right now you have time to wait. You know, it's if you wait on him too long and someone else comes along, you know, I just don't want you to waste time. I'm not telling you not to. I'm just saying one of the healthiest things that a woman should do is set a timeline boundary, like a date for yourself, and circle it on the calendar. And be honest about it. The reason is because I've seen women many times that I read for, you know, say what you did, you know, what that they're, you know, they're willing to wait a little bit, you know, they're not gonna wait forever, but they have some time to wait. And it turned into 5 years. And some have waited 3, and some have waited 8. And they never picked a date. They never picked a time. And they just kind of would let it slide. And then let it slide. So I think if you pick a date that you can really commit to for yourself, because you have to kind of have a conversation with your future self. And that future self has to look back and say, okay, you handled it right. You don't want to, your future self look at your younger self and say, why'd you give him 4 years? Okay, the last day of the year. Oh, nice. Now, the other thing too is that when that date comes around, if you slide it and you fall back on it, then you stay in the same boat. That's what happened to the hundreds of women that I've seen do that. That's why I always tell the person, you have to pick the date that you're comfortable with. So let me find out something else about him. Let's go back to him. These are just ideas and thoughts for yourself, for you to feel good about you and your future, and not feel worn out by the experience with him. If okay, so let me go back and ask how he feels about marriage in general. Okay. Okay, so the thing is that I do see a baby. This could be that he really wants one in the future, but it can also be that an oops happens, and there's still no marriage. So you have to be aware of that too. So women can stay on top of that type of, subject. So let me see something. Yeah. So I see an oops. Um, something that just can happen. I don't know if that's him in a future, if you walk away with someone else, or if it's with you. But nonetheless, there's a desperation and there's a sadness. So at one point, I do see him crying and sad, but I don't know what that's about. I just want to stick to the question that you're asking, because gazing can lead you into all these different, like, oh, and what else and what else, Gazing works very clear with the question. You don't want to get into like these sidebars with gazing. So with tarot, it's really different. Yeah, so he is So I do believe. Okay, so you're already pregnant? So you already have an oops? So you're already pregnant? Oh, and I have to tell you something else about the part about him with intention. He is telling the truth. Okay, so you're already pregnant. Okay. So it seemed like it's how far along are you with the pregnancy? Because that's why I saw the there's a couple of things I need you to know before we end the reading, and I want to go over some points. Okay, congratulations. I do believe it's a little boy. So like I said, there is some rough patches that's going to be coming up. You know, maybe like the baby's still an infant when it happens, but I do see him crying, and it could be just overwhelmed by something with his job, or it could be something where maybe you feel stressed. If you have a baby together, then setting a date to leave maybe is not healthy, you know, because you have a baby now. So you don't want the baby to be without the dad, you know. So that's why when I saw the baby, that's when I was like, okay, wait, I don't know if that's in the future with somebody else after you or with you, but this is important. Okay, so with that in mind, it's different, especially if it's a little boy, because like the dad in the picture is, so at this point the baby, I think, takes preference, even though that's your choice, it's your family, but like the baby's needs come first now, so it's not so much about the ring pressure. You still deserve it, of course, but if he doesn't want to, leaving, I think, is really not cool, because then the baby doesn't have the parents, but like the home broken is not good, So the other thing I was going to tell you is it does show that there's a lot. So one of the things I notice about him is there's like this bittersweet sadness to him. And he's bright, and he's funny, and there's a lot of interesting things about him, but he's like a very intense eyes, like a very intense stare, like there's a lot to him. But I noticed that the things that he plans in his head, like when he says, he doesn't have a good concept of, if he doesn't really make those things happen, they won't happen. So he lets a lot of things kind of like pass him without like saying, okay, if you want this, you have to make this happen. So he kind of procrastinates, and he kind of is out of touch with some things, and life can pass him by with a lot of things like that. So I would say that I do believe he's very honest when he tells you that he wants building together. I do believe that. But there are some fears too. And those fears don't go away just like that. Another thing we didn't talk about, sometimes men are giving something called promise rings. A promise ring, it depends on your style. Some women are offended by them, some women love them, some women don't care for them, whatever. But a lot of times a man can give a promise ring, which is not engagement, but a promise ring is something to put on your finger so that one day it can be an engagement ring. So it's almost like a step before the engagement. And sometimes guys do that. So I think it's driven out of fear. I think the jewelry companies push it so they make an extra sale. But I think that guys go for it because they either don't have a budget or they are scared and they want her happy and they don't have to commit to something so scary. I don't really think they're cool, but some guys see it very differently. Right. That's why I mentioned that, because I saw that. So that's why I wanted to mention that, but I didn't want to upset you in bringing it up in a way like, hey, he gave you, because I don't want to hurt your feelings and I don't want to say anything that upsets you, especially in your condition. So I don't candy coat anything. I'm very direct. But I do believe in giving information gentle, because it's people's feelings and I don't want, So yeah, that's why I'm saying, I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm trying to low-key say that he gives it because it's like helps with the fear. Yeah. So, a woman's asking, Lucy, what does he really mean? What does I really want to know what he's feeling. And I'm going, well, I'll tell you the truth, but, so that's why I'm saying it's out of fear. Yeah. So he's trying. He's trying. There's going to be a couple rough hurdles coming up emotionally and stuff like that, because the kid or the baby, or however you want to call it, the little one, the wee one, the stages that you're going to be going through together, and then the impact and stages he's going to be going through himself are different. And at one point, he's going to be nervous and stressed about things he never thought of. Like, oh my God, this means this. This is going to be, imagine taking a guy who's afraid, has some trauma from the past, and he's trying to, he marches to his own beat and he's trying to do his thing. Okay, he's a dad now, about to be. And you've got this whole cycle and journey, which is supposed to be joyous and adventurous. Some guys gain weight, some guys start eating more, just like the woman. But then on top of that, he has his own evolution. And I see that there's going to be some rough, freaky parts for him where he's like, oh my God, I didn't think of that. And what if this? And the worry wart comes out. So you got to be aware of that too. So the reading does close, but there was one more thing I had to tell you. Hang on. Yeah, I just wanted to check on kind of like what things are going to be on, like, and like, how do I say it? I just wanted to kind of see, like, you know, if there's like a big change in him, you know, for the new year. And I mean, you know, for 2026 and a little bit after that. And, you know, I don't want to, is there any other question that you have for me, Jada? That kind of question isn't really eligible because, I mean, I'll do it anyway, but I want to let you know I'm very thorough in what I do because I'm an astrologer, I'm able to look at everything like a clock. And what you do is you kind of disarm every month. You kind of just like think of what you've been through in 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks. Probably a lot. Now imagine double that, and that's a month. And then imagine 3 months ago, it was like a whole new world. So there's so much in a month, let alone a year, right? So for me to do all of that, what if a person sells a business and graduates? Do I tell them that the nutshell is that they sold a business? You know, it's so hard. You really can't do that. But I will see if there's a special message for the year. How about that? Okay. I have to sneeze again. No, I thought I had to sneeze. I would say it's adjusting to each other. I think that there's going to be like an adjustment challenge, kind of like things that you've never gone through together, like that you have to start doing. So, for example, foods and preparations, or little things with lifestyle, little things that have to do with I would say it's there's a lot of stress in attunement and adjustment with each other as far as like routine. I think that that's the most challenging. Now I want to tell you, I'm not trying to sell you any kind of reading. You know, the reading that you got was great and it covers everything you need. But I just want to let you know, I do have marriage readings where the whole reading is on marriage, you know, and engagement and clarity. I think we covered enough because the intention is there. However, you know, the fear. But a lot of this can be changed by your behavior, by the way. You can play a role in changing this around. It's actually up to the woman, believe it or not, even though the woman stays there waiting to be proposed to, which you already kind of were, because the promise ring does change the statistics a bit. You know, when I saw that, I was like, oh, let me mention the promise ring, because that does, it's interesting. He already made a move for that, towards that semi, but it's there. But the fear's not gone, so it complicates it, but at least you're in a much better light with that. And I want to let you know about astrology too. One of the things that's very healthy is kind of like looking into a baby chart. It tells a lot about the parents. Sometimes it's a relationship chart to see the destiny, things you should know. Another thing is, for example, when a person gets a horoscope from me to know the year, which is really how it's done with astrology. Every year in astrology, you get a perfection year. It's kind of like it's a Time Lord. You probably don't know what it is, but think of it like this. Every year of your life, astrology, the stars and the planets give you kind of like a theme or a flavor in your life. I mention this to you because since you're asking about the year, that's why I'm saying this to you. But if I had to answer you in a gazing question, I would say it's a year of getting used to changes with routine that also affect the body. I would say that that's the most pivotal. Weight will be gained with both of you, and a little bit, but and also like getting adjusted to the routine of new things, and that's really like even before the baby's out, I would say that that's the most challenging. Yeah. Yeah. And it's also going to be interesting because you're going to be going through so much of your own preoccupation with other things that your headspace today will really be changing too. Definitely. But there's also going to be, for him, a couple of times where, he could get a little choked up emotionally because it's a lot. It's taking in a lot, and a lot happens fast. All right. Thank you so much, sweetheart, for getting a reading from me. I appreciate it. And congratulations on your little bundle. And congratulations on your promise ring, because it's still pretty and it still means a lot. And aura rings are really cool. Those are the ones that are to monitor the heart and stuff like that. It's an interesting, very practical, romantic kind of thing. Really cool. I like that. Thank you so much, sweetheart. And don't give up. Don't give up. Because you're in the situation where you have a little bundle now, I think that keep the same boundaries, but I think you have to, deal with it a little bit more with sugar on top, because it's a different situation now, which is good. All right, sweetheart. Thank you so much, and blessings to you. Bye. Good night.